High speeds, flashing lights, and in a split second, your life can change. Police chases are happening across the Jackson Metro, and the debate over when to pursue is getting louder.
That's right, because law enforcement say if you run, they are coming after you. Families who've lost loved ones say some chases have gone too far. 16 WAPT's Carlos Garcia investigates.
High speeds.
Unfortunately, it's a necessary evil in this line of work that when the criminals run, we're going to have to pursue them in order to bring them to justice.
It's an all-hands-on-deck situation when it comes to stopping criminals.
If you run, our typical policy is going to be we're going to chase you, and I'm perfectly fine with that.
But those split-second decisions...
The chase should have been called off. It should have never got this far.
...can become life-changing. Police pursuits are nothing new in Mississippi, but recent numbers show they've become far more common in the Jackson metro area. 16 WAPT did a deep dive into data involving police chases in the state over the last 5 years. We requested data from 12 regional departments. The Mississippi Highway Patrol had the highest number of chases, consistent with the largest patrol area. Their numbers show troopers conducted 628 pursuits in the central region between 2020 and 2025. 108 of them happened in Troop C, which covers Hinds County and the surrounding Jackson metro area.
But there's a risk every time they pursue. I mean, it just is. And you can't just let criminals run because that's what they'll do every time.
Sean Tyndall's the commissioner of the Mississippi Department of Public Safety. We wanted to know when and why his officers get involved in a chase. We sent a public records request. The Department of Public Safety sent us an 8-page document, which was heavily redacted. Commissioner Tyndall said that's because they don't want criminals using it against law enforcement. One of the departments Tyndall oversees is Capitol Police in Jackson. In 2022, the Capitol Police Department reported 730 chases between August of that year through mid-November of 2025.
Criminals don't want to be arrested. They don't always just stop and put their hands up in the air. They don't always just pull over. You know, they're going to run. And it is our job as law enforcement to pursue those individuals and bring them to justice, but we have to do that in a manner that is as safe as possible for everybody involved.
For Capitol Police Chief Bo Luckey, who reports to Commissioner Tyndall, his department's jurisdiction continues to grow, expanding from 8 to 24 square miles in 2024, now to 28 square miles, increasing their numbers when it comes to chases. Other police departments in the metro also chase, some more than others. Of the 12 departments we requested data from, Ridgeland was the only other department besides Capitol Police and MHP to provide us with their numbers. Since 2020, Ridgeland has been involved in 153 chases, the most in 2022, when there were 48. None of them were deadly. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration reports 24 fatal crashes involving police pursuits in Mississippi from 2020 to 2023. In 2022, the year with the highest number of fatalities during that time period, 9 people were killed. 4 of those occurred in Jackson. In some cases, innocent bystanders becoming the victims. To some, the number of fatalities involved in police pursuits may be just a number. To others, it's a sight like this, where families could lose their loved ones in the blink of an eye.
My daughter and my wife, their life is only worth a pack of cigarettes.
In October of 2025, Jimmy Washington's wife and daughter were out buying a birthday cake. At the same time, Byram police were chasing Anton Gray over a stolen pack of cigarettes. Police say Gray ran a red light, slamming into Shaylee Davenport and Deborah Washington at the intersection of Raymond Road and Robinson Road, nearly 20 miles from where that chase started and in no less than 3 different cities. The 2 never made it back home.
A pack of cigarettes? You chasing a man down for a pack of cigarettes? Not having regard for human life? What if it was their family? They gone. I don't know what to say. I have no words really anymore. They done tore my family apart.
The data from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration found in 2020 to 2021 reported 7 people were killed in vehicles not involved in the police pursuit, raising the question if pursuits are the right course of action.
What I don't want to be in the business of trying to do is frequently having to armchair quarterback or make decisions for my law enforcement officers that are on the front line. We give them a set of parameters. They make the decisions on the front line, and if there's an issue with an abuse of discretion, then we'll start to address that.
As law enforcement agencies continue to expand enforcement efforts, the debate over when and whether to pursue will likely continue.
In my mind, there's one person that's responsible when innocent people get injured and die as a result of these pursuits, and it's the person that fled law enforcement.
When we as a society can come to a place where we respect law enforcement and respect authority more, and we work with law enforcement and law enforcement works with society, we're going to be much better off.
Reporting for 16 WAPT, I'm Carlos Garcia.
The city of Flowood also provided us data reporting 47 chases in the last 5 years. 2 of them were deadly. Several other departments denied our request. They cited a 2010 Attorney General's ruling that said releasing pursuit information could endanger an officer's life. They also pointed to state law that makes investigative material exempt from public records requests. A number of departments told us they consider their chase policies to be investigative. You can read more about the policies, see what the city of Jackson said, and break down the numbers right now on the 16 WAPT mobile app. It's a free download.